and the MAGA party won the election because Americans were concerned about their wallets and money that they said they were losing and the price of groceries. How is he going to present that, and how is this going to pay off in the end where it's not going to cost more on all of our wallets?
Well, that's the big question, because you're absolutely right. Donald Trump won really because of two words: gas and groceries. And he can blame Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for the current economic problems in America, but it's his economy. He's the president. And every day that goes by, every week that goes by, he owns it more and more. And there's a new Reuters poll out showing only 37% of Americans now have confidence in the way Trump is running the economy. And as you point out, the stock market is betting against him. It's down 18 points from its peak in February. The stock market was very bullish for the first month of the Trump presidency, but the tariff issue has really plunged not only the American stock market, but stock markets all over the world into this massive uncertainty. And the problem is this. You know, Donald Trump came to prominence as a reality TV star. And the essence of reality TV is suspense. Keep them guessing. That's why 18 million people tuned into the last episode of The White Lotus last night, right? Who's going to get killed? Who's going to, leave the island? Uncertainty works in reality TV. It does not work as a principle for running the economy, because investors want certainty. Businesses want to know, should I hire people? Should I expand the plant? And individual consumers have the same problem. I have a pal here in Washington who runs a business reconditioning old houses. He had 6 people cancel his contracts this week, saying, I can't spend that money now because I don't know what's going to happen. If you multiply what happened to my friend countless times all over the country, that's why you see this sense of uncertainty, this chill of anxiety that's running through the economy, including with a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump.
We have about 40 seconds left here. Steve, you mentioned people who voted for Donald Trump. Republicans on Capitol Hill have been relatively silent about what the president has done up to this point. But given what is going on with the markets now and the economic uncertainty, at what point do they break away from the president?
Well, it's a very good question. A few are starting to break away. Let's be clear. Donald Trump still commands the Republican Party. He still has a fervent, loyal base that believes him when he says things are going well, believes him when he says this is tough medicine, but it's all going to be fine in the future. But there are some Republicans who are nervous. You got Rand Paul, a senator from Kentucky, saying of his own president, this is bad economics and bad politics. You have Whit Ayers, who is a very seasoned Republican pollster, saying Trump's honeymoon collapsed along with the stock market. You have Ted Cruz, hardly a liberal, saying there's a very real risk of Trump tilting the economy into recession. So does the core of the Republican Party still admire Trump? Are they loyal to Trump? Do they fear Trump? Yes. But along the edges, is this anxiety starting to build? You can see those signs.
Steve, thank you as always for your insight and perspective. We appreciate it. Steve Roberts, ABC News political analyst.
WTOP's traffic and weather together. Dave Dildine in the traffic center.
Franconia Springfield, I-395, 95, southbound, heavy and slow from Duke Street toward Old Keene Mill Road. Crash on the main line near 644, but traffic in the 644 service road is also jammed, and delays extend east of the interstate on Franconia Road toward police response near Elder Avenue. Might be some high water or something there, blocking a lane or two of 644. Not quite sure. No cameras, so no help. On 66, no impediments and short westbound slowdowns west of the Beltway near Nutley Street and near 28 in Centerville. On the Beltway, things are looking pretty good at the American Legion Bridge. We can call it minor slowing on the Inner Loop. Outer Loop, longer volume delays from Van Dorn Street to the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. All volume through Alexandria on the Outer Loop. In the district, on 395, it's equally heavy in and outbound through Southwest. I-295, some southbound slowing near Bowling. And in Maryland, routine congestion on the Beltway and north of it. Brought to you by Window Nation. Need new windows at Window Nation? Buy 4 windows, get 4 free. Pay nothing until 2027. Now through April 30th. Don't wait. Visit windownation.com today. Dave Dildine, WTOP Traffic.
Let's head back to the 7 News First Alert Weather Center. Chief Meteorologist Veronica Johnson joins us now. Veronica, are we finished with the rain rain just yet.
We're getting close. So the rain's going to be wrapping up down in southern Maryland by 10 to 11 p.m. But for the most part, we've seen the showers kind of come to an end around D.C. metro areas north and west. Maybe a little bit of drizzle here for another hour or so with just some light lingering moisture. However, clearing skies will focus next on the cold as we go from the umbrella weather to coat weather. That's right. Back to coat weather as we clear out tomorrow morning. Temperatures will be somewhere between 33 and 39 degrees. And this evening, we're low to mid 40s. So that's a big drop in temperatures. High temperature Tuesday, just under 50 degrees, but with any wind. And right now I'm forecasting winds at 30 miles per hour out of the northwest. It'll feel like we're in the mid to upper 30s. So cold start and a pretty chilly day as we get back to sunshine. Sunshine also for Wednesday, but a cold start. This time, you're looking at temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s across the area. And your first alert weather team, we are going for a freeze alert for Wednesday with some of the flowers that have come up, especially down through southern Maryland. High temperature Wednesday, right near 60 degrees. We'll do a little better, but still below average. And then rain showers return for Thursday and Friday. Right now, it's 47 degrees in D.C., Leesburg, Virginia at 41, Germantown, Maryland, now 43.
All right. Thanks, Veronica. We're brought to you by Mervis Diamonds.
The best diamonds in the world are waiting for you at Mervis Diamond Importers. For the largest diamond collection and the best value, visit Mervis. Nobody pays retail anymore. Why should you? MervisDiamond.com.
452.
The Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority Police Department is hosting an exclusive recruitment event for entry-level and lateral police officers on Saturday, April 12th. Starting at 8 a.m. at the Criminal Justice Police Academy in Ashburn, Virginia. This event is an opportunity to fast-track your career by completing multiple phases of the hiring process in just one day. Hired police officers can receive a $10,000 signing bonus. Visit MWAA Events for full event details. That's MWAA Events.
Harbor Freight knows time is money, so for our Spring Black Friday sale, we're getting straight to the deals. This weekend, you get 35% off jack stands, 56-inch roll cabs under $800, and 2,300 PSI electric pressure washers under $190. See? Straight to the point, so you can get straight to the savings. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until April 13th, 2025 while supplies last. Limitations apply.
You're listening to WTOP.
WTOP News.
Facts matter.
It's 4:53.
A Virginia man's getting his national television debut this week for his work helping young men find their way through STEM. The story from WTOP's Valerie Bonk.
It's probably been the highlight of my career.
Eric King is the founder of the Future King STEM program based in Prince William County. And on Wednesday, you can watch his story on The Kelly Clarkson Show.
Kelly is a very, very special woman. She is so warm and inviting, and the interview was just so natural.
King is being honored on the show as part of their Rad Human segment, highlighting those who make a positive impact. King's organization pairs young men in middle and high school from underserved communities with mentors to help them start their journey in cybersecurity, biomedical sciences, engineering, and other STEM careers. More than 1,300 boys have participated.
Having someone like Kelly, who is digging into who we are, what we're doing, and the results of our program, is really going to spread the word and give us some visibility that we would have never been able to have otherwise.
Valerie Bonk, WTOP News.
Peak bloom may have come and gone, but the National Park Service says it isn't too late to take in the cherry blossoms. While petals from the Yoshino trees have already fallen, NPS says in a post on X, the Kwanzan trees are now blooming. You can find dozens of them in East Potomac Park. Meanwhile, Cherry Blossom Festival events continue this week with a parade taking place Saturday on Constitution Avenue along the National Mall.
Sports at 25 and 55. Powered by Maximus. Moving people and technology forward.
Big game for college basketball for the men.
Is that tonight?
Yeah, who's going to do it? Houston? Florida? Which one?
I think Houston's going to win.
I said I was backing you, so I'm with you.
Have you changed your mind?
When I start watching the game, I'll text you and say, George, it's over.
Florida.
I had Florida winning at the beginning of the tournament, but I think the way Houston, just has come on the other night too. Maybe some momentum. But look, it's one game. You just have to win a basketball game tonight.
That's right.
That's it.
And it's the perfect matchup. possibly the best offensive team in the country against the best defensive team.
Absolutely. So which style is going to win out? We'll have to wait and see tonight. It is Florida looking for a first national championship since their back-to-backs in 2006 and 2007 with Billy Donovan as the head coach, and the Cougars seeking their first in program history. Kelvin Sampson's team, very physical, play great defense, and they're giving up just 58.5 points a game. That is best in the nation, along with field goal percentage in the 30s as well. So 8:50 tip-off tonight. It is earlier. They moved it before 9 o'clock Eastern this year because, a lot of people complain and it gets too late. That's the bottom line. So that's tonight, 8:50. UConn women win the national championship yesterday. And how about this for some fun? In the ESPN Women's Tournament Challenge, the brackets, one player got 62 out of the 63 games correct. That's 1,910 out of 1,920 points. 3.4 million brackets. Nobody had more points. The only incorrect game was the third one of the tournament in an 8-9 game. And then they got the next 60 games correct in the tournament to win it.
Wow.
Yes, that's pretty impressive. Nationals home tonight to the Dodgers. George Wallace, WTOP Sports.
All right, George, thanks. 4:56.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at Progressive.com.
In today's digital world, adversaries never rest. To stay ahead of them, government agencies need an adversary-focused approach to cybersecurity. CrowdStrike's Falcon platform is built to stop breaches, empowering government agencies with real-time threat intelligence that stops adversaries before they stop you. With the latest adversary-based threat hunting technology, CrowdStrike Falcon on GovCloud helps detect, disrupt, and defeat cyber threats all in one platform. CrowdStrike. We stop breaches.
This is WTOP News. WTOP FM Washington. WWWTFM Manassas. WTLP FM Braddock Heights Frederick.
It is 4:58. Let's head back to the traffic center and back to Dave.
Through Springfield, 395 and 95, southbound quite slow. Duke Street through the Springfield interchange beyond the Beltway. And near 644, main lanes crash reported on the left side. Service Road, slow to go eastbound on 644, east of the interstate on Franconia Road. Some sort of emergency work zone near Elder Avenue. No specifics provided by VDOT other than eastbound traffic is very much affected on Franconia Road. 66 westbound slowdowns beyond the Beltway are relatively short. 28 southbound near Willard Avenue, new report of a crash, and one reported broken down westbound on 50 west of 28 on the left. In Maryland on the Interloop, patch of slow traffic near Largo. Police are stopped with one along the left side beyond Ritchie Marlborough Road. 270 volume delays northbound through Gaithersburg and rolling through Clarksburg unimpeded. The WTOP Traffic Center is presented by Window Nation. Today, buy 4 windows, get 4 free. WindowNation.com. Dave Dildine, WTOP Traffic.
Your forecast from Steve Rudin.
As we head through the early evening, a few lingering showers and patchy drizzle as temperatures slowly fall through the 40s. Overnight, we're in the 30s as our skies gradually clear after midnight. Tomorrow, grab the sunglasses. Temperatures mid-40s to around 50, but with wind gusts upwards of 30 miles per hour. That's going to keep wind chills in the 30s. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudin in the First Alert Weather Center.
Lots of clouds right now. 46 Reagan National, 43 degrees at Dulles.
At 4:59.
You're listening to WTOP, Washington's news, traffic, and weather station.
WTOP News. Facts matter.
Good afternoon. I'm Ann Kramer.
And I'm Sean Anderson. Coming up,
we continue to follow what's happened to Wall Street as a result of the Trump tariffs. Another volatile day on the 3 indices.
The Dow finished the day down 349 points. The NASDAQ, though, was in positive territory, up 15. S&P ended down 11.
The president defends his tariffs as some countries express willingness to negotiate. Coming up at 5:15, we'll talk to WTOP's Mitchell Miller on Capitol Hill.
A judge's order that a mistakenly deported man be returned to the U.S. from El Salvador has been paused. I'm Mike Murillo.
A temporary safety fix is coming to one of Arlington's most problematic roads. I'm Scott Gelman.
World champion Dodgers are in town to face the Nationals tonight, and it's Houston and Florida for the NCAA men's basketball title.
It is 5 o'clock on WTOP.
Is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. The markets were rocked again today because of tariffs and uncertainty over where things are headed. President Trump said today he's talking to a number of countries, including China, but insisted there will be no pause.
We're not looking at that. We have many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us.
The Dow finished 349 points lower. Economist Gus Fauché.
I think markets are getting used to the idea of these tariffs. They priced in a lot of it. There was, some rumors out there today that influenced stock prices that turned out not to be true. So I think we're going to see high volatility in the market until we get a better sense of what the final tariffs end up being.
Trump met at the White House with Israel's prime minister, and they discussed Iran's nuclear program. Iran has said direct talks would be useless, but the president indicated otherwise. Stacey Lynn reports.
With Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu by his side, President Trump announced the talks.
We're meeting very importantly on Saturday at almost the highest level. And we'll see how it works out.
He insisted that Tehran can't get nuclear weapons, and he hopes a deal can be made.
It's getting to be very dangerous territory, and hopefully those talks will be successful, and I think it would be in Iran's best interest if they are.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News, the White House.
Chief Justice John Roberts has agreed to pause a midnight deadline for the Trump administration to return a Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador. But legal analyst Laurie Levinson tells us it's not the final decision.
We don't know which way the Supreme Court will go. It's a unique case. We've never seen this before, where you've had the administration who admitted that they deported somebody out of error. The lower court said, bring that person back. And the government is saying, well, you don't have the power to order us to do that.
The deadline for his return had been 11:59 tonight. The heavy rains that swept through the Midwest and South have moved east, but the rivers are still rising, and that's a real threat. CBS's Dave Malkoff is in Pocahontas, Arkansas.
That floodwater that we have seen all over the region, it is not expected to go down anytime soon. Maybe it will crest by Wednesday, but even if it does that, it will stick around for the rest of the week.
The flooding is a concern in Kentucky, Tennessee, and Alabama. Some rivers are already at near record levels. At least 23 people died from last week's storms. And recapping the numbers on Wall Street, the Dow finished the day 349 points lower. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It is 5:03 on Monday, April the 7th. We have lots of clouds, still expecting some showers and sprinkles. Temperatures are holding right now in the region in the low to mid 40s. Good afternoon, I'm Ann Kramer.
And I'm Sean Anderson. Top story today here on WTOP, continuing coverage of what's happening with your money, particularly on Wall Street. Stocks have been tumbling, surging, bouncing in pretty much every direction today. All this over the uncertainty caused by President Trump's sweeping tariffs. 5 days ago, he announced those tariffs on basically every country America does trade with. Now, what happened today was just extreme volatility. The Dow opened down by more than 1,600 points after the Asian markets tanked. Hong Kong's market had its worst day in decades. Now, at the close on Wall Street today, the Dow lost 349 points. The Nasdaq finished in positive territory, up 15. The S&P was down a dozen. Keep it here on WTOP. We'll continue to watch things, get reaction and analysis all through the day and evening.
Well, Maryland's governor is reacting to these Trump tariffs and what's been happening on the stock market and how it impacts the state of Maryland.
Tariffs are an economic tool, but this administration is using them as an ideology. And it's a disastrous ideology at that, because we are seeing how these tariffs that they are putting on board, these universal tariffs, these reckless tariffs, are actually essentially going to be a national sales tax. Everyone is going to pay more for everything. That's the way this is going to continue to show itself. And so I think how erratic this behavior has been, and frankly, how destructive it's been for the markets, for people's retirement, for our small businesses, for our farmers. I cannot stress enough what a chaotic environment this is creating for the people of the state of Maryland.
And that is Governor Wes Moore, who joined us last hour here on WTOP. The end of the General Assembly session in Maryland happens at midnight tonight. You'll remember Maryland has been facing a $3.3 billion deficit. The state budget of $67 billion was just passed today and includes more than $1.5 billion in fees and taxes increase. That reporting from WVAL.
Other breaking news this afternoon, an order that an El Salvador native who was deported from Beltsville, Maryland, be returned to the U.S. by 11:59 tonight. Well, that order has been paused. WTOP's Mike Murillo says this new development comes after the Trump administration takes its case to the nation's highest court.
The Supreme Court's Chief Justice John Roberts issuing a temporary stay in the case surrounding 29-year-old Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He's a man who was living in Maryland under legally protected status with his wife, who's an American, but was deported to El Salvador last month. The Department of Homeland Security has admitted his deportation was due to an administrative error. The stay pauses Friday's order by a federal judge in Maryland, which was upheld by an appeals court. The government called for the stay, saying the courts overstepped by forcing the government to secure Abrego Garcia's release from a prison in El Salvador, and also claims he's a member of the MS-13 gang, something the man's attorney, Simon Sandoval-Moschenberg, says there's no evidence of. His attorney tells WTOP this is just a temporary administrative stay and says he has full confidence that the Supreme Court will resolve this matter as quickly as possible. Mike Murillo, WTOP News.
506, one of the most dangerous intersections along a busy road in Arlington, is getting a bit of a change. WTOP's Scott Gelman tells us safety upgrades are on the way.
They're adding right turn only signs here at the intersection of Arlington Boulevard and Highland Street, along with flex posts that will prevent you from turning left through lots of traffic.
We're piloting it at Highland because that's the location where we've seen the highest number of left turner through movement crashes.
Christine Baker is Arlington's Vision Zero program manager.
We know it's a very effective tool in our toolbox, but it's something that is going to disrupt traffic patterns. So we have to be really mindful of where we place these. And we do see Route 50 as a huge priority.
It'll cost between $2,000 and $5,000, and they'll be checking to see if it makes a difference through the summer and fall. There are plans to make other changes all around here, but that work isn't expected to start until 2030. In Arlington, Scott Gelman, WTOP News.
Coming up in Money News here on WTOP.
One of your weekly expenses is very likely going down. I'm Jeff Claiborne.
Traffic and weather in 30 seconds.
Do you want to make a difference in your community? Do you want to provide opportunities for people with disabilities to learn new skills that lead to fulfilling careers? Then donate your unneeded vehicle to Melwood. We accept all vehicles in any condition. Donating is fast, free, and easy. Just call 1-877-MELWOOD or visit melwoodcar.org. That's 1-877-MELWOOD or visit melwoodcar.org. Call and make a difference today.
508.
Get a precision AC tune-up for only $59.
Michael and Son.
Time for traffic and weather on the 8th on this gloomy afternoon. How's it going out there on the roads, Dave?
It's all in the eye of the beholder. It's not so bad out there as far as traffic is concerned. Southbound on 395 getting better through Springfield, 95 south of there. Crash out of the way. 644 Franconia Road, eastbound on the expressway portion, the elevated portion. You're jammed because of some sort of emergency work near Elder Avenue. Very little traffic is able to get by. 66, very little in the way of westbound slowing off the Beltway. It's an easy rush hour at the American Legion Bridge. There's no congestion at all there on the Beltway. 28 southbound through Chantilly. There is a backup. It's because of a crash at Willard Road. Authorities are wrangling that onto the shoulder right now. Over in Maryland on the Inner Loop, just heavy, rolling into Silver Spring, 270, a few slowdowns, actually many slowdowns through Montgomery County, heaviest in Gaithersburg, par for the course, Germantown bound. 50 eastbound to the Bay Bridge, you are moving well. Dunkirk, Route 4, southbound your Hall Creek police direction, and a southbound slowdown. The WTOP newsroom is furnished by Regency Furniture. Shop Regency for the best dining, living, and bedroom sets, plus brand name mattresses, affordable, never looks so good. Dave Dildine, WTOP Traffic.
Let's go to 7 News First Alert meteorologist Steve Rudin.
Temperatures this evening will hold in the 40s, at least early on, with a few lingering showers and patchy drizzle. Skies will begin to clear later tonight, and temperatures will settle to the 30s by early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow is going to be a breezy day, so much so that we'll see wind chill factors in the 30s to around 40, and actual air temperatures in the mid-40s to around 50. Those winds will settle down by Wednesday with lots of sunshine. Lower to middle 50s. Thursday and Friday, chance for a few showers. Highs in the 50s to around 60. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudin in the First Alert Weather Center.
Lots of clouds right now. 46 at Foggy Bottom, 44 in Silver Spring. Brought to you by Long Fence. Save 25% on decks, pavers, and fences. 6 months, no payment, no interest. Conditions apply. Go to longfence.com.
WTOP's Money News at 10 and 40 past the hour. Yet another busy one for Jeff Claiborne.
The Dow sank at the opening bell and then rallied on rumors of a pause in tariffs. That was not true. The Dow's intraday swing of more than 2,500 points was a record. By the close, it was down 349 points. The S&P 500 finished the day down 12 points. The Nasdaq did manage to gain today, up just 15 points. The price at the pump will continue falling. Crude oil prices dropped to less than $60 a barrel today, the lowest in 3 years. Oil is down 15% just this month. It was a bad week for billionaires. Bloomberg says last week's market meltdown cost the world's 50 richest people their biggest two-day loss ever recorded. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg lost a total of $82 billion Thursday and Friday combined. Jeff Claiborne, WTOP News.
This report is sponsored by National Harbor.
Well, coming up here on WTOP, will Congress wade into tariff talks with President Trump after all the volatility in the stock market over the past several days? We'll learn more with WTOP's Mitchell Miller next. 5:11.
The right partner makes all the difference. Now, more than ever, trust is the foundation of any successful relationship. As the community bank of the nation's capital, United Bank focuses on growing personal relationships with our customers and communities. With local bankers you know and trust, businesses and individuals throughout Greater Washington continue to choose United Bank. To learn more, visit bankwithunited.com. United Bank. Member FDIC.
The American Cancer Society estimates that 43,000 people are diagnosed with rectal cancer each year. Recently, MedStar Health's rectal cancer program has earned the distinction of having the only hospital in Washington, D.C. to earn a 3-year accreditation by the National Accreditation Program for Rectal Cancer.
Which essentially means that MedStar Washington Hospital Center abides by certain standards that mean that we're pushing quality imaging so that we're getting the best and accurate staging for each patient.
That's Dr. Brian Bello, a board-certified colon and rectal surgeon at MedStar Washington Hospital Center.
All cases of rectal cancer are being presented in a multidisciplinary fashion that includes a team of surgeons, medical oncologists, radiation oncologists, radiologists, and pathologists.
To schedule a consultation, please visit medstarhealth.org/intel. Medical Intel, sponsored weekly by MedStar Washington Hospital Center.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Later this hour here on WTOP, the Democratic nominee in Virginia's historic governor's race sounds off on what she thinks will be the biggest issues in this fall's campaign and how much it costs to live in the Commonwealth. We'll get more in about 30 seconds.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
At Leidos, we make things smarter and more efficient. From cutting development time in half on a new class of cruise missile for the DoD to already being done with this ad. Leidos, making smart smarter.
You're listening to WTOP.
WTOP News.
Facts matter.
5:14. I'm Sean Anderson.
I'm Ann Kramer. Thanks for joining us.
As we've been reporting, it was another very bumpy ride for the markets today with the Dow and the S&P down again, the NASDAQ up slightly. Meanwhile, President Trump continues to defend his decision on tariffs. And he says other countries are now indicating they're willing to negotiate.
If I didn't do what I did over the last couple of weeks, you wouldn't have anybody wants to negotiate. We would have gone to these countries who want to talk, and they were, well, we don't want to talk. Now they're coming to us.
Joining us live from Capitol Hill now is WTOP's Mitchell Miller. Mitch, some Republicans are indicating that they're ready for Congress to have more of a say on tariffs. What are you actually hearing on the Capitol?
Well, and first on the matter of negotiations, several Republicans are anxious for President Trump to make some deals with other countries so that the markets will calm down a bit. Utah Senator Mike Lee, who's a free trade advocate, today he indicated he wants the president to start striking some of these deals. They are reportedly in talks with close to 50 countries. But as for legislation on tariffs, a bipartisan Senate bill co-sponsored by Iowa's Chuck Grassley and Washington's Maria Cantwell does have 6 Republicans on board in addition to Grassley. That legislation would give Congress the power to vote on tariffs after they've been in place for 60 days. Also, House Republican Don Bacon today introduced a similar measure that would need to get through some parliamentary hurdles to get to the floor, but it does indicate that a lot of Republicans are interested in this.
The Republican leaders in the House and Senate, though, seem to be sticking with the president, at least for now, right?
That's right, Sean. House Speaker Mike Johnson today telling reporters he's essentially staying in place here and notes it's only been about a week since the president's big tariff announcement, so he's willing to give him some space to see what happens with the markets. What's also interesting is that Senate Majority Leader John Thune said today he does not think that Senate legislation that I just talked about is going to go anywhere. Now, I will add that doesn't mean that their positions are stuck in stone. Other Republicans have acknowledged that if the markets do continue to drop on a virtually daily basis, and if inflation rises or a recession comes about, that could have a profound impact on the midterm elections.
All right, Mitch, on another topic, D.C. leaders, grassroots activists are growing more concerned about the lack of action in the House on that bill to fix D.C.'s potential billion-dollar budget problem. Even the mayor chimed in today. What do we know here?
Right. The mayor obviously very concerned. And I talked to some D.C. parents in the Longworth building today on Capitol Hill as they and their kids paid visits to House lawmakers' offices. This was a follow-up to a similar effort that they made last month when they were trying to get the Senate to fix the glitch that reverts D.C. back to those 2024 budget levels and caused this potential billion-dollar problem. They're worried that the Senate passed this standalone bill 3 weeks ago, and there's really been no action in the House. House Speaker Mike Johnson has to make that decision. They want him to make that decision this week, but of course he's dealing with a lot of other things, including that major vote on the president's legislative agenda that could come up in the next few days. The House then goes on a 2-week break after this Friday. So that's why these parents and others were on the Hill today, worried this issue could languish even longer if it doesn't get taken up soon.
All right. Thanks so much, Mitch.
You bet.
WTOP Capitol Hill correspondent Mitchell Miller.
Quick look at the top stories we're working on for you here at WTOP.
Chief Justice John Roberts stays a lower court ruling requiring a Maryland man deported by mistake to El Salvador be returned to the U.S. by midnight tonight. That means the order has been paused.
President Trump says his administration is in direct talks with Iran about its nuclear program and adds very high-level talks on it could come this weekend.
Keep it here for full details in the minutes ahead.
5:18. Traffic and weather on the 8s, and we'll start with Dave Dildine. He's in the WTOP Traffic Center.
Well, it's been a tame rush hour for sure. At the American Legion Bridge, no slowdowns at all. On the outer loop at the American Legion Bridge, traffic's moving well, but even on the inner loop. At the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, outer loop traffic is heavy through Alexandria, but it's often worse during weekdays. It's better southbound on 395 and 95 through Springfield. The crash near 644 is clear, but east of there on Franconia Road, traffic is jammed, and very little of it is apparently getting by at an emergency work zone near Elder Avenue. 66 westbound, just short westbound slowdowns through Fairfax County. 28 southbound delays through Chantilly because of a crash that happened near Willard Road. Over in Maryland on 270 and the Interloop along with 95, slowdowns are manageable. Route 50, you're making good time between the Beltway and the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. Explore the tropics at Whole Foods Market with juicy savings on fresh fruits. Plus, indulge in island-inspired flavors all over the store through tomorrow. Dave Dildine, WTOP Traffic.
Let's go to 7 News First Alert meteorologist Steve Rudin.
Any lingering showers will draw to a close moving through the evening. Could see a little bit of patchy drizzle with temperatures in the 40s, at least early on. Overnight, our skies begin to clear. Winds will begin to increase. Temperatures will fall to the 30s by early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine with temperatures mid-40s to around 50. Wind chill factors in the 30s to around 40 degrees. Not as windy on Wednesday, but still plenty of sun. Highs 50 to 55. We're nearing 60 on on Thursday with scattered showers. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudin in the First Alert Weather Center.
We have a lot of clouds right now. 47 on the National Mall, 44 in Fairfax, 45 in College Park. We're brought to you by Len the Plumber Heating and Air. Trusted same-day service 7 days a week.
Coming up on WTOP, we talk to the Democratic nominee for governor in Virginia. 520.
Scott Froman, the head of defense programs for Google Public Sector on Federal News Network's DoD Modernization Exchange, says AI can help with 3 big cyber challenges.
The threat's important because these threats are ever evolving. They're getting more and more complex, especially as the attackers use AI. Toil is important because there's just so much surface area to defend, and it's getting bigger and more complex every day. And the talent, hiring cyber is hard.
Watch the full discussion now. Go to federalnewsnetwork.com and search Google.
The spirit of innovation is deeply ingrained in America, and Google is helping Americans innovate in ways both big and small. The Department of Defense is working with Google to help secure America's digital defense systems. From establishing cloud-based zero-trust solutions to deploying the latest AI technology, this is a new era of American innovation. Find out more at g.co/American Innovation. That's g.co/American Innovation.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Thompson Creek Window Company designs, builds, and installs replacement windows without the middleman markup. You get high-quality windows at an affordable price direct from our local factory. Call now for our biggest sale of the year. Take advantage of our best prices and lowest monthly payments on all windows and doors for a limited time. Call 855-57-CREEK now.
Home sweet Thompson Creek. You're listening to WTOP.
WTOP News.
Facts matter.
522.
Election 2025 now on WTOP, and to the governor's race in Virginia. It's former Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger's first week as the Democratic nominee for governor. She was unchallenged for the nomination and will now go on to run against Republican nominee Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears. Now, in Virginia, especially during recent election cycles, there have been top issues for voters that clearly stand out. Congresswoman Spanberger joined us here on WTOP earlier to talk about what the top issue is this time around, at least in her mind.
It continues to be a question of affordability, whether it's at the pharmacy counter, at the grocery store, on the housing market. And when you couple that with the challenges that we're seeing across Virginia, where we do have more than 320,000 people who are federal employees, in addition to so many contractors and so many small business owners whose clientele does heavily skew towards a federal workforce. The way that we make the challenges of, housing supply worse or rising healthcare costs worse is by having a significant portion of our community either lose their jobs or live under the threat of potentially losing their jobs.
And WTOP has reached out to Lieutenant Governor Earl Sears, the Republican nominee, as we mentioned, for an interview today. She was unable to join us. We have talked to her in recent weeks. You can find those stories on WTOP.com.
Well, you might know this already. One of the most popular walking and biking trails in our region is the W&OD Trail. It stretches from Shirlington out to Purcellville. WTOP's Neil Augustine tells us some advocates say it is time to return train service to that trail.
Quiet, fast electric trains that don't pollute, they don't cause a lot of noise.
Ryan Jones founded the group NovaTrack. They envision a new commuter rail line right alongside the W&OD Trail.
For most of its length, the trail actually owns 100 feet of land, and railways should only take up about 40 to 45 feet. So we anticipate that we'll leave plenty of room for green space and the trail and everything that bikers want and need.
The town of Hamilton approved a resolution to study the proposed line that would have stops in western Loudoun, including Leesburg, Hamilton, and Purcellville.
Prime example of transit-oriented development. You can look around here. There's lots of walkable areas, a lot of buildings that are 2-3 stories that have apartments, businesses. This is where people want to live. It's where people already live. And bringing the transit back around which these communities were built on would be fantastic for everybody.
In Herndon, Neil Augenstein, WTOP News.
Sports at 25 and 55 brought to you by Amentum, advanced engineering and technology solutions for tomorrow.
George Wallace, it's almost time for the men's championship game of the NCAA basketball tournament.
25-8 run the other night. Houston closed that game against Duke.
That was amazing.
It really was, right?
And for the Duke haters in the world, I mean, that was double.
Ooh.
Yeah, double, yeah. 11-1 to finish it in the end, and Houston moves on. Yes, they've got a veteran team. They lead the nation in giving up just 58.5 points a game, and they get Florida, a team that has Walter Clayton Jr., who has back-to-back 30-point games. He had 34 the other night with 5 threes. First consecutive 30-point games this deep in the tournament since Larry Bird. So let's hope it's a good one tonight. 8:50 p.m. as they have moved up the start time this year because it was just too late. So it is 8:50 tonight in San Antonio. The Women's National Championship yesterday. UConn takes home title number 12. Nationals Dodgers tonight from Nats Park. Looks like we're all clear for baseball as the world champions are in town. Shohei Ohtani and the Nats fresh off taking their first series of the year against the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are at home. They get the Orioles tonight. It is Masters week from Augusta. Today, practice suspended due to the rain and the threat of severe storms. So looking at, of course, because this is the fun time of year, you look at how much it will cost to get on the grounds at Augusta National. Mm-hmm. Well, it looks like there are not an extremely limited inventory of badges. 4-day badges now going for $25,000.
What?
Yeah. I wouldn't lie to you, too. Thursday alone, well over $10,000.
My gosh.
Boy, that's the people's game.
That's it. It'll be fun.
I don't think, were Super Bowl tickets that expensive?
That's
what
a lot.
in the world is happening?
Yeah. That's have you been
get
there?
your own golf cart? You get to ride around for that?
You even think about riding a golf cart.
I don't even think they allow anybody to have golf carts
ahead of time,
there.
could you do that? So what do you get for it? Never mind. We'll talk about it later.
But you can get a pimento and cheese sandwich.
I was just going to say, I'm going to get my pimento sandwich, aren't I?
Yeah.
For $25,000.
A pullover for $200 and a cheese sandwich for $150. George Wallace,
I get a cup.
WTOP Sports.
Thanks, George. Another wild ride on Wall Street is over. We are going to talk about it and the Trump tariffs. It's 5:27.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity. So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. Now through April 17th, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and 1 unlimited mobile line together for $30 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus 1 unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus 1 unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, could be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Go to carsforkids.org today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
528. Traffic and weather on the 8s with Dave Dildine in the WTOP Traffic Center.
Chantilly, Virginia, Route 50 westbound after 28. It was one broken down along the left side near Lee Road. 28 southbound, no refuge there. Slow traffic from Air and Space Museum Parkway past 50 toward the remains of a crash near Willard Avenue. Route 50, I-66 westbound, just heavy near Nutley Street, and not bad through Centerville. Eastbound, a little crowded around Falls Church. At the American Legion Bridge, it is a good rush hour. No signs of slowing between Tysons and Bethesda. Out-of-loop traffic is a bit slow between Eisenhower and the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, but less of it this afternoon in general around the region. Montgomery County on Connecticut Avenue, northbound. Crash reported near Weller Road. 270, just volume delays northbound through Gaithersburg. 95 at the Baltimore-Washington Parkway. A few slowdowns through Laurel, but again, on the whole, a little better than usual, even by Monday standards. Route 50, it is a breeze under overcast skies. No travel trouble between the Capitol Beltway and the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. Brought to you by the Shepherd's House. Celebrate Easter online and in person with the Shepherd's House International Christian Church Sunday, April 20th at 9 a.m. For more information, visit theshepherdshouseinternational.org. Dave Dildine, WTOP Traffic.
Let's get a check of our forecast. 7 News First Alert meteorologist Steve Rudin.
Cloudy skies will stick around at least for the next few hours, along with a few lingering showers and patchy drizzle. Temperatures will hold in the 40s early on and will eventually settle down to the 30s later on tonight and into early tomorrow morning. That's as our skies begin to clear. As our skies clear, winds are going to increase. Tomorrow we have lots of sunshine. Wind gusts upwards of 25 to 30 miles per hour. We'll see wind chill factors in the 30s with highs 45 to 50 degrees. Not quite as windy on Wednesday. Lots of sunshine. Highs mid-50s. Winds from the northwest at 5 to 10. Thursday and Friday throwing in a chance for a few showers. The temperatures, they'll be in the 50s to around 60. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudin in the First Alert Weather Center.
We're at 45 in Georgetown, Bowie at 44, Leesburg at 44, brought to you by Top Nova Orthodontics. Avoid tooth extractions or surgery for your orthodontic treatment. Visit Dr. Abazi at Top Nova Orthodontics.
531.
You're listening to WTOP, Washington's news, traffic, and weather station.
WTOP News. Facts matter.
Good afternoon. I'm Sean Anderson.
I'm Ann Kramer. Jacob Kerr is our producer.
It was a very volatile day on Wall Street as President Trump's tariffs continue to spark much economic uncertainty. The trading session started out in a free fall. The Dow lost more than 1,600 points in the first hour, then jumped into positive territory for a brief moment because of a false rumor that President Trump was considering a tariff pause. By the close, the Dow closed down 349 points. That's almost a 1% loss. The S&P was down a handful of points, just 12 points. The NASDAQ ended the day in the green, up about 16 points.
Well, despite the roller coaster ride that happened on Wall Street, the president is standing by his tariffs and even threatening to slap an additional tariff on China.
Undeterred by a volatile stock market, President Trump has threatened additional tariffs on China after Beijing retaliated.
They put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already.
He issued China a new ultimatum: remove its retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. by tomorrow or be subject to additional 50% tariffs beginning April 9th.
I have great respect for China, but they can't do this.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News, the White House.
Well, meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the White House today and said Israel would address his country's trade deficit with the U.S.
I recognize the position of the United States. It says, we're allowing other countries to put tariffs on us, but we don't put tariffs on them. And, I'm a free trade champion, and free trade has to be fair trade.
The U.S. tariff on Israel right now is at 17%. President Trump made no mention of eliminating tariffs on imports from Israel in response.
The shaky markets and the trade war are causing concern over on Capitol Hill. And a House Republican today has introduced new tariff legislation. WTOP's Mitchell Miller has today on the Hill.
The House bill is modeled after bipartisan legislation that's now before the Senate. It would require a president to let Congress know within 48 hours of plans to impose tariffs, and it would require congressional approval to extend tariffs beyond 60 days. Nebraska Republican Don Bacon acknowledges getting his bill approved by the House faces some hurdles, but believes it can happen.
It will be harder to pass this in the House, no doubt. I think if we get 60 votes in the Senate, it'll put pressure on the House to look at this.
Bacon speaking on CBS's Face the Nation. A growing number of lawmakers say Congress needs to reassert its authority related to tariffs and trade. On Capitol Hill, Mitchell Miller, WTOP News.
534, a big development this afternoon in the case of the Beltsville man, who the White House admits was mistakenly deported last month to a prison in El Salvador. The Supreme Court has now intervened in the case after the Trump administration appealed a district federal judge's order that the man be brought back to the U.S. by midnight tonight. WTOP's Mike Murillo tells us the Chief Justice has paused the lower court ruling.
After a federal judge in Maryland ordered the Trump administration to get Kilmar Abrego Garcia back, the government took its opposition to that to the Supreme Court. And Chief Justice John Roberts granted a stay in the case as the court considers its decision. Abrego Garcia, who has legal status and has lived in Prince George's County with his wife, who's an American, was deported last month and is now in prison in El Salvador. The government says it doesn't have the ability to make El Salvador release the man and also claims he's a member of the MS-13 gang, which is a foreign terrorist organization. Abrego Garcia's attorney, Simon Sandoval Moshenberg, says there's no proof of that, and he tells WTOP the stay is temporary and that he has full confidence that the Supreme Court will resolve this matter as quickly as possible. In a written response to the court, he says at every moment Abrego Garcia remains in El Salvador constitutes irreparable harm to him. Mike Murillo, WTOP News.
5:35 now to the war in Ukraine. Russia says it wants peace with Ukraine, but its neighbors are sounding the alarm about some troubling signs indicating Moscow has designs on other countries. WTOP national security correspondent J.J. Green joined us earlier with details.
These signs are becoming more and more obvious.
We believe, and it's quite broadly shared here, that Russia is preparing for the next conflict.
That's Artis Pabriks, former Minister of Foreign Affairs and former Defense Minister of Latvia. Vladimir Putin ordering the biggest conscription call-up, 160,000 eligible men between 18 and 30 to report since 2011 in recent days adds to the concern.
In which place, in which way, in what time, it's difficult to predict.
But he's got an unmistakable message for Moscow.
If somebody will cross our border, in this case Latvian border or Estonian border or Lithuanian border, we are going to shoot immediately to kill.
Pabriks, who's now chairman of the Northern Europe Policy Center, suggests Moscow's rhetoric is clear, their actions unmistakable, and if this ceasefire process continues to go their way, they will absolutely try it.
WTOP national security correspondent J.J. Green.
Up ahead, Ian Money News after traffic and weather.
Could the Fed do what it almost never does? I'm Jeff Claiborne.
5:36.
For Mervis Diamond Importers, I'm Ronnie Mervis. If you're looking for a diamond, you owe it to yourself to search for the best deal. Mervis Diamond imports direct from the mines, cutting out the middlemen. Our quality is exceptional and so are our prices. And that's why Mervis Diamond is the only smart choice. We're proud to be the diamond dealer by which all others compare themselves. No one else has the selection and value which makes Mervis famous. You'll see more diamonds in every size and every shape than you ever imagined in your wildest dreams. So when you're ready, compare around town and then come to us last. The Mervis Advantage will convince you that Mervis Diamonds is the only choice. That's why we sell more diamonds in 1 week than many other stores sell in a year. Diamonds are all we do, so we do it right. Someday, all diamonds will be sold the Mervis way. Mervis Diamond Importers. Mervis means more diamonds, much better quality, and the most value. Financing is available. Go to mervisdiamond.com to learn more. For an appointment, call 1-800-HER-LOVE. Nobody pays retail anymore. Why should you?
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce!
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
It's 5:38. Traffic and weather on the 8s and when it breaks with Dave Dildine in the WTOP Traffic Center.
On the western side of the Beltway, it's about as good as it gets. No delays anywhere near the American Legion Bridge. On the south side of the outer loop, slow from the Eisenhower Avenue connector to the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. 395 northbound, an incident on the shoulder before Duke Street. Southbound delays through Springfield have largely eased. The crash near 644 is clear. 644 Franconia Road eastbound delays from 95 toward an emergency work zone near Elder Avenue. 66 short westbound slowdowns out to Centerville. 28 southbound delays toward the remains of a crash near Willard Road. And west of there on Route 50, one broken down on the left. Had traffic a little backed up in Chantilly. That happened near Lee Road. Over in Maryland on 270, pretty congested northbound through Gaithersburg. Maybe a distraction on a shoulder north of Watkins Mill Road. Just plain heavy on the Interloop near Connecticut and Georgia Avenue. BW Parkway northbound, some congestion to work through in Greenbelt. Route 50's in good shape between the Capitol Beltway and the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube. Need an oil change? At Jiffy Lube, get it done in 15 minutes or less. No appointment necessary. Visit JiffyLubeDC.com for a location near you. I'm Dave Dildine, WTOP Traffic.
Now to the PJ Fitzpatrick Home Improvement Weather Desk for your home's windows, siding, doors, and bath. Trust PJ.com. Over to 7 News First Alert meteorologist Steve Rudin.
A little bit of drizzle, a few lingering showers moving through the early evening. Not going to amount to a whole lot as temperatures fall through the 40s. Eventually, as skies clear out later tonight into the 30s. Tomorrow's going to be a breezy day, a chilly day with lots of sunshine, 45 to 50 degrees. Wind chill factors, it feels like readings in the 30s to around 40. It's not as windy on Wednesday. Lots of sunshine. Highs will be in the 50s, nearing 60 on Thursday with a chance for a few showers lingering into Friday. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudin in the First Alert Weather Center.
All right, just gray and gloomy, 43 in Rockville, 44 in Ashburn. Fort Washington checks in at 45.
We have money news at 10 and 40 past the hour. Over to Jeff Claybaugh.
Losses were tempered today, but it was the most volatile trading day in a long time. The Dow moved in a range of more than 2,500 points. That's its largest intraday point swing ever recorded. By the close, the Dow was down 349 points, another 1% loss. The S&P 500 finished the day down by just 12. The NASDAQ did close up today. I had just 15 points. Will the Fed cut rates before its May meeting? Intra-meeting cuts are rare. 2020 was the last time, and Fed Chair Jerome Powell said just last week it was unlikely. Still, a Bloomberg index shows traders have now raised odds of a cut before May, and most see as many as 3 to 5 cuts this year. A 25% tariff on 6-figure vehicles adds up. Jaguar Land Rover is putting all U.S. shipments on hold for a month to see if those tariffs stick. Mercedes may stop some imports for now. Jeff Claybaugh, WTOP News.
All right, Jeff, thanks. It's 5:41 now to the latest crime numbers when it comes to one of the biggest counties in Maryland. WTOP's Kate Ryan tells us there is encouraging news about crime numbers in a key area of the county.
In 2022 and 2023, crime in downtown Silver Spring, including violent crime, was trending upward. But now, in the first quarter of 2025,
our violent crime is really heading in the right direction.
And that's down, according to Montgomery County Police Department's 3rd District Commander, Jason Kokinos.
Robberies down 30% compared to 2024. We've had no contact shootings in downtown Silver Spring, no homicides in downtown Silver Spring.
He credits a number of factors: increased security at local parking garages, changes in closing times for late-night businesses, and the Drone as First Responder program. County Council President Kate Stewart said the drones provide important information in real time.
And we're also improving officer safety by providing them with more information before they get to a scene.
Kokinos spoke during Stewart's weekly briefing with reporters. Kate Ryan, WTOP News.
Today's Federal Headlines Report is brought to you by WAPA. See why more than 50,000 feds and their families choose WAPA.
I'm Eric White. Here are your top headlines from Federal News Network. More than 500 law firms have signed on to a court brief opposing President Trump's recent executive orders targeting parts of the legal community. It's part of a lawsuit by Perkins Coie, one of the law firms Trump targeted. The EO demands that security clearances of its lawyers be suspended, that federal contracts be terminated, and that employee access to federal buildings be restricted. And the Energy Department has identified 16 federal sites that could house powerful data centers to advance U.S. artificial intelligence technologies. The goal is to begin construction on new AI sites by the end of 2027. DOE is seeking feedback from data center developers, energy firms, and the public as part of a request for information released last week. For more on these stories, go to federalnewsnetwork.com.
Well, still ahead, Caps fans continue to be very happy this afternoon and smiling after star Alex Ovechkin broke Wayne Gretzky's career goal record. It happened yesterday. We're going to talk about it with Caps TV play-by-play announcer Joe Beninati. It's 5:44.
Get your Easter essentials this week at Giant. All week long, spiral sliced half hams are just 89 cents per pound. Select ham butt or shank portions are just 79 cents per pound. And round out the meal with some vegetables. Giant green beans and Brussels sprouts are just $2.49 each. The savings don't stop there. From meat and produce to seafood, dairy, and so much more. We've dropped prices on your favorite items throughout the store. Get fresh low prices online and in store at Giant. Giant, this is home.
Harbor Freight knows time is money. So for our Spring Black Friday sale, we're getting straight to the deals. This weekend, you get 35% off jack stands, 56-inch roll cabs under $800, and 2,300 PSI electric pressure washers under $190. See? Straight to the point. So you can get straight to the savings. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until April 13th, 2025 while supplies last. Limitations apply.
Get breaking local news from WTOP and traffic and weather every 10 minutes.
In any room at home where you've got a smart speaker.
I listen in my garage in Greenbelt.
Just tell Alexa to open WTOP.
And get updates from all around the DMV, all around your home.
WTOP News.
It's 5:45. I'm Sean Anderson.
I'm Ann Kramer. Thanks for joining us.
What a weekend for the Washington Capitals and star Alex Ovechkin, along with Caps fans. Ovi broke Wayne Gretzky's NHL career goals mark with his 895th while taking on the Islanders yesterday. Here's what it sounded like from Caps TV play-by-play man Joe Beninati.
Cross ice, Ovechkin fires! Score! The chasing days are done! Alex Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer in the history of the NHL.
Joe B joined us earlier. Before we got reaction to that big play yesterday, we actually asked him about what it was like when Ovi tied Gretzky's career record on Friday night.
Friday may have been even better. Even though it's a record tire, not a record breaker, to share